this is going to be a debate session on the topic of, which is the best approach for total visual rectal excision. So we are very happy to, supposed to be a fighting, right? This is supposed to be, but not just simple symposium, everyone in the top head there. No, we don't allow this to happen. So today we have got 3 fighters, 2 from Korea and 1 from Japan. Okay, and each will be speaking on a different approach to TME. Now, before they start the fighting, I'm going to show one simple case first, right? So hang on a little bit, all right? It's going to be very short. This is order from Juji, so I have to show it. So this is case number 1. Anyway, I'm going to show one case only. Right? So this is a 72-year-old British male patient who's got locally advanced low rectal cancer. And biopsy proven to be adenosine and had underlying neoadjuvant long-core CCRT standard 54 grades. And it's lucky this patient has got a clinical complete response, right? And then obviously I think Juji's team put this patient on watch and wait policy with regular follow-up, and then until 16 months after the CCRT, the patient was noticed to have a tumor regrowth, right, at the local area. So now the unique thing about this patient is that it's 180 centimeters tall, weight 151 kilograms, so BMI is close to 47. What's the typical British, right? So that's the BMI. So typical Thai. So yeah, getting more and more obese now. So now this is the MRI. I think this is the post. That's the regrowth. So you can see the arrow sign there. Everyone appreciate that's a regrowth. So it's anterior. So another look. So can you play this video clip? Right. So you can see that's a low rectal tumor. Anterior, you can see the regrowth. So now that's the case. No. So very obese British patient, complete response after CCRT, watch and wait, tumor regrowth, same side. Now, can I have a show of hands? We can do a polling right before the talk. Now, obviously, patient requires a surgery now, TME. Any one of you would choose a laparoscopic TME, please put up your hand. Obviously, I think it will not be open, right? Because we are all no open. Make sure that there's no open here. Okay. Laparoscopic TME. Who would consider doing a laparoscopic TME in this case? Wow, quite many. All right. A robot. That's right. That's to be fair. Assume everyone has a robot. Now robot becomes very cheap now. Okay. Assume every single unit has a robot. So here, show of hands again. All right. Assume that you have a robot. So laparoscopic TME. See? Okay. Robotic TME. More hands now. Hey, how about transnasal TME? Hey, how about the rest? No TME? Carry on, refer to oncologist, continue chemotherapy? You know what I see, just one, you want to say something? Did you? Okay. So so we just just have a initial polling. These are the types of cases, okay, that these people are going to discuss on. All right. So we're going to check you afterwards. Okay. So that's it. Just show you one case. So now without further ado, I'll hand on to our first fighter. Previously, professor from my good friend. It's a member of the 70 Club, right? We're the 70 Club. Surgeons born after 1970, right? All right. Professor from Seoul St. Mary's Hospital, Catholic University of Korea, is going to speak for laparoscopic TME. Now, I just want all the fighters to cut your speech as short as possible, right? Probably 10 minutes. We leave the rest of the time for your fighting, okay? Because we do want to see blood. Okay? So try our best. Keep your talk short. Thank you.
Sawadee first of all, congratulations for 20th anniversary of the Shoala Colorectal Center. It's my great pleasure to be here. And frankly, my friend asked me to fight against Professor Kai and Professor Hagami, but I'd like to make it clear that before starting my talk, I am never stand against TME or lower TME. because I think we, colorectal surgeons, are allied soldiers standing in the front line to fight against the colorectal cancer in infinite war. So we are Avengers. So to win this war, we need a good soldier like you, like us, and we need a good strategy, and we need a good weapon. I think TME is kind of strategist, and robotic TME is kind of the weapon to win against this kind of infinite war against colorectal cancer. Actually, everyone in here, that robotic surgery has an upper hand compared to laparoscopic surgery like this. And so many surgeons, including me, are expecting the robotics that can overcome the limitation of conventional laparoscopic surgery and expect lower conversion and better, or at least similar surgical quality, including TME and better functional outcomes. So in the early time, this is the meta-analysis which was published in 2014. Many meta-analysis or system review conclude that there can be advantage of robotic surgery, including reducing blood loss, lower conversion rate, and shorter time to recovery bowel function. And many study was conducted to prove this kind of real benefit of robotic surgery. But unfortunately, many studies failed to prove this kind of the real benefit of robotic surgery compared to conventional laparoscopic surgery. So nowadays, in 2017, many meta-analysis system review published nowadays report that there is no difference between local recurrence or overall survival, no real difference between complication and the CRM positivity, or even lower systemic blood loss during the surgery. But the robotic surgery seems to have lower rates of conversion and lower rate of urinary retention, and is a longer operation time compared to laparoscopic surgery. So many meta-analysis conclude that until now, it did not indicate major benefit of robotic TME over the laparoscopic TME was not proven, not yet. Actually, the LOLA trial, which is one of the most famous one, included not only the lower rectal but also the upper rectal cancer. The primary endpoint was conversion rate. Unfortunately, this study, LOLA trial, cannot meet its the primary endpoint because the conversion rate 12% versus 81% showed no difference between the two groups. And many studies report that the promising result about the favorable urinary function and sexual function. And many studies report that robotic TME is associated with early recovery of urinary and sexual function. But actually, it becomes similar at the end of the surgery. I mean that after 12 after surgery, between the sexual function and urinary function is comparable between the robotic TME group and laparoscopic TME group. This is the one of the study which was conducted by Professor Choi over there. He reported that in robotic group, the IPSS urinary function is much better in 6 months after surgery, but became similar in the 12 after surgery. This is the study is conducted in the several university. Professor Kim here. They report that the urinary function was better at 6 months after surgery, but becomes similar in the 12 months of the surgery. What about sexual function? This study is conducted in Korean National Cancer Center not using IEFF, but just using a URTC-QR CL38 questionnaire. They report that sexual function after 12 months was better in robotic group. But actually, we discussed it during our lunchtime. It is not so subjective, so it is very hard to say the robotic can guarantee the better sexual function because there is many different depending on the individual, the characteristic, and the other everything. And the LOLA trial also evaluate urinary function and sexual function using IPSS and IEF for male and FSFI for female, but show that they cannot prove any sexual or urinary dysfunction between the robotic TME group and the laparoscopic TME group. So nowadays, the current status of robotic surgery in Korea is like that. Actually, this is the report which was published this year using the nationwide registry of the Korean database. We checked the change of the composition of robotic laparoscopy of colorectal surgery group. The laparoscopic surgery was increased from 2006 to 2014. Actually, in 2014, the penetration rate of minimal invasive surgery in rectal cancer is over 80%. And among them, the majority is the laparoscopic group. The laparoscopic rectal cancer was increased, and the green line, the open rectal surgery was decreased, but unfortunately, the robotic rectal surgery was plateaued during almost 10 years, around the 10%. But when you see in detail, data, the laparoscopic anterior resection was decreased, and laparoscopic, the simple low anterior resection was also decreased. But in 2014, more than 1/3 of the robotic surgery is robotic intersphincter resection. That means now in Korea, many Korean surgeons think that the indication of robotic is the very low rectal cancer who need intersphincter resection like this. So this is my it is very hard to make a conclusion, but think that does robotic TME guarantee a better TME quality? Unfortunately, there is no evidence, but I think it is similar to laparoscopic compared to laparoscopic TME. Does robotic TME guarantee better and urinary function? Maybe, but similar in the end. Just one year after surgery, the urinary function and sexual function become similar between two groups. Will robotic TME will be easy in selected case like the previous one, the BMI 46.6? Yes, maybe. I think it may be helpful in some very selective, very narrow pelvis, very low rectal cancer application who need the lateral dissection or the very obvious. I think the robotic TME sometimes it will be easy compared to the conventional laparoscopy. But the majority we can do it by laparoscopic TME. What about TME? I think that I usually call that the surgeon who do a TME is a TMer. The TMer is just that the advantages of TME is easy and they have a very short learning curve compared to the laparoscopic group and short operating time if they apply treating approach, sessional approach, and can guarantee the better surgical or pathological quality. And it is better for some challenging cases of challenging TME cases. This is the study which was about the learning curve of transanal TME. This study reported the learning curve for TME affected the major post-operative complication is needed 40 cases. That means that the 40 cases needed to overcome the complication rate. And this is the case which compare the learning curve of the TME and laparoscopic TME. But they say that although they cannot find any significant difference between two groups, but the intraoperative complication rate was much higher in TME group, 21%, compared to 6% in laparoscopic TME group. So they conclude that the TME learning curve seems to be associated with significant rates of intraoperative complications. So we have to pay more great attention when you do TME, especially during the learning curve, learning period. And but better surgical pathological quality can be guaranteed by TME. Yes, I think that in theoretically we start TME start the dissection from the distal part of the tumor, so can guarantee the longer distal dissection margin. And nowadays many reports from the western side said that the CRM positivity was much less compared to the laparoscopic TME. For example, 0.5%. 0% to 10%. And very interestingly, there is a report that the residual measure of the tissue was much higher in laparoscopic TME group. 3.1% in TME, but about 50% in laparoscopic TME. Unfortunately, I can understand the result of this, the journal, which published from France, maybe. But when you think our Korean trial, the CRM positivity in laparoscopic group, actually in this study, the Korean study could only the mid to low rectal cancer, the tumor which is located 10 cm below the 10 cm from the nerve. The CRM positivity only 2.7% in this. So I think that what is the real benefit of the TME is very questionable, especially in Korea and Asia side, I think. And we have sometimes when we do a TME, we have to cautious about the unusual complication, the CO2 bulbous because of during the surgery, the partial venotomy can be happen during the pneumopelvis, and at the time high flow rate by LC can make some CO2 bulbous. This kind of complication was reported, and the unusual complication like respiratory injury can be happening. The reported rate is 0 to around 7%. So I'd like to give several questions to the TATMers. Actually, when we do the two-team approach, who is the main surgeon in two-team approach? Because, you know, TATM is kind of local control. But what is, the people die not because of local recurrence, but of the system recurrence. So, IML ligation and apical section are very important. So, who is the main surgeon? If you apply, two-team approach. And second is that many TATMers that when you do TATM, it is very good to preserve the sexual function. But if the surgeon put the abdominal part, if the injury to the iliac plexus, he cannot do it. Erection is possible, but he cannot finish. So it's very the disaster for men. So the pre-planned TATM is really needed in exercise. So this is my question to the TATMer. I think if we have to go from A to B, and there are two ways, in this case, it is much more easy to take this way because it is straight and wider. But if there's an obstacle here, it is more acceptable to use this way instead of this way. So I think robotic TME over the TATM is kind of strategy to win against the infinite war, against the colorectal cancer. This is my just short video for 5 seconds. The patient like this, the tumor is stuck in the pelvic inlet. It is very hard to do a laparoscopic surgery. In that case, I think it is good a candidate for the TATM, but unfortunately, I finished this kind of thing, conventional laparoscopic surgery. So I think it is very ridiculous question. Which is best for TME? We have to change this one. Which way is appropriate for that patient? Thank you very much.